Welcome
Okay.
to another episode of Awaz-e-Haqiqat, which translates to the voice of truth. I am Chris Malika Bhadra, and today or tonight, depending on whichever part of the world you're watching or listening me from, basically you're listening to me from, I will be talking about menopause, various
Mhm.
things that get affected in a body when menopause hits a woman, the mental health of that individual, and why don't we basically talk about it? And to discuss more on this issue, I have a very special guest with me who is joining me all the way from India. I have with me Indrani. So Indrani did her post-graduation in mathematics from University of Calcutta. She is an
Mhm.
IT professional as well. After working with different software companies for many years, she started her own software consultancy business and ran it for 10 long years. Now she is
Mhm.
retired from IT, but she's also a contemporary painter. Her paintings are
Mhm.
collected by many art collectors from countries such as India, USA, Japan, Germany, Switzerland, and the UK as well. On that note, Indrani, a very good afternoon. How are you doing?
Very good afternoon to you too. I'm doing fine. How are you?
Not too bad. Thank you, Nani. Thank you for saying yes to having a chat about this very important topic, Nani.
Okay.
And that is why I had the first question, which is how can we start a conversation about and around menopause?
Okay. Uh, Actually, as you know, that menopause generally occurs between 45 and 55.
Yeah,
Okay. And before that, we experience perimenopause.
yeah.
And any woman body starts giving symptoms when she reaches at perimenopause. Okay.
Hmm.
If the symptoms are unbearable, one has to take the steps like talking to the friends, family members, etc.
Right.
She should also visit a gynae, and gynae will give some tests to confirm it. And during this time, many women actually may develop some uterine fibroids,
Right.
ovarian cysts, etc.
Right.
Actually, I developed it. And the main reason of this is hormonal imbalance. And she should not feel any shame to
Hmm.
take the steps of diagnosing it. Okay. And because it's a natural phenomenon, and she can also join perimenopause, menopausal groups, forums on Facebook and many other social media platforms.
Hmm.
Uh, then she will get to know about other women's symptoms and remedies.
Right. So, just a quick question. Or you mentioned that you need to reach out to friends and family and obviously medical professional. But when you hit
Yeah.
these symptoms in Nani, sometimes your mental balance is also affected because the body is
Yeah,
going through a
your
complete set of
mental balance
changes.
is affected.
So,
Yeah.
Indrani, when you were going through it or when this started
Mm.
hitting you, how did you take care of your mental health?
Actually, I had my perimenopause period for 12 long years.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, so I suffered a lot.
Hmm.
So mental health of mine was also affected greatly,
Hmm.
because during my perimenopause years, when I actually reached my late stage of perimenopause, I basically was suffering from depression.
Right.
And the thing is that most majorly the huge panic attacks, anxiety attacks without any reason,
Yeah.
and hot flashes.
Hmm.
And hot flashes also bring anxiety.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And forgetfulness, brain fog.
Hmm. Hmm.
My major symptoms were anxiety attacks, panic attacks. They were severe.
Hmm.
And now also, I have just reached my menopause. Now also, I am suffering from that unnecessary anxiety, panic attacks. And when I think about it, why it's happening, actually, there is a reason behind it.
Hmm. Now, thank you. Thank you for saying it out loud, Indrani,
And
because
yeah, one can feel very low, one can feel very sluggish,
hmm,
you
right.
know, the brain capacity also decreases.
Okay. Thank you for spelling them out, Indrani, because talking about mental health and menopause together is very, very difficult and but important. So, and at this point of time, to all my listeners, if you feel that this conversation is a bit distressing for you, please take
Another
care
things
of
I
your
would like to mention here, that is, I also had very irritability,
mm.
anger, mood swings. I
Yeah.
also faced that, and even now, I have reached my menopause most probably because I have 1 year of no period.
Okay.
So still now I am suffering from that.
Same mood
Mood
swings.
swings, irritability, anger without any reason.
Yeah, I think it happens both the sides because now when I am before every monthly start, we have these extreme mood swings. I don't understand why I'm upset. And suddenly it
Mhm.
occurs to me that, oh, maybe my dates are approaching. That is why there's a mood swing. I'm suddenly sad, I'm irritable and angry. So I think that is one thing that happens on both sides of the issue.
Yeah, that's true. But when your menstrual cycle starts, I think that actually subsides.
Hmm.
But in my case, it is not subsiding. It is occurring and occurring.
But I'm sure you're seeking the appropriate health that is required. Health.
Yeah, I am basically now taking changed my food and lifestyle.
Right.
I am strict. Yeah, I will talk about that later. Okay.
Sure. We'll come to that. And the next thing that I wanted to know is, women have to go to work while they're
Mhm.
menstruating, while they're on perimenopause, or while they are hitting menopause. So, how
Mhm.
can workplaces address menopause in a way that, this conversation helps both the organization and the employees who are going through menopausal symptoms?
It is a tough question for me because when I first started my perimenopause, I was working from home
Right.
because I have already started my thing. I mean,
Right.
my IT consultancy business. So I was working from home. I didn't have to go to an office, and because I also had very turbulent times during my
Hmm.
perimenopausal period.
Hmm.
So that's how I managed because I worked from home. But the women who attend office during this stage, they may have difficulty attending offices.
Yeah.
Some women may have very mild symptom or no symptoms at all.
Right. Right.
But some of them can have very aggressive symptoms, like me.
Hmm.
So one should carry their sanitary napkins with them always, because during this stage bleeding can happen any time without any signal.
Right. Right. And I think it's
So
also
yeah.
important to have this conversation with your manager also. I think they have to be aware.
Actually, the thing is that if the manager is a male, then I do not know how you will, I mean, start the conversation.
Yeah,
So that it may be a problem. But I think you should contact your gynae.
exactly.
Gynae can give you good advice.
Right. And when you mentioned about the difficulty with opening up to a male manager, I think that is where all these conversations come into role. That is why we need to normalize talking about menopause because there's a stigma around menstruation, menopause that we can't open up, and it's a hush hush thing. So that's I think talking is very important. Um,
Hmm.
Moving on to the other thing, Indrani, is what are the important attributes of
Mhm.
menopause care?
Yeah, I have listed it down. Basically, I just got my official menopause,
Hmm.
and I would say eat nutritious foods. I do not have any junk food or fried food as of now. I have foods like cowpeas, cowpeas, which is called lobia actually.
Okay. Yeah.
Then soy, flax seeds, lentils, vegetables, and eggs in moderation. Eggs and chicken in moderation. Food and lifestyle basically can lessen the symptoms. One can also have supplements like multivitamins, which I have
Hmm.
multivitamins, calcium, vitamin D, magnesiums, and probiotics. Probiotics very important thing
Right. Right.
because digestion system is also affected by menopause.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because some menopausal women can experience motility issue,
Okay.
movement of food.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I
that.
mean, they can have very sluggish digestive system. So
Hmm.
probiotic is a must. And the thing is that the least I just talked about, they make basically phytoestrogen.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, there is one component called isoflavone.
Right.
One should take food rich in isoflavones.
Okay. All right.
They make basically phytoestrogens which mimic estrogen in our body.
Mm.
Because the thing is that in a menopausal woman body, actually estrogen and progesterone both starts very. I mean, there is no estrogen, no progesterone in some women. So they
Mhm.
basically suffer a lot.
Right. But Inani,
So
this is all about physical health, right? You're talking about
physical
diet,
health,
exercise. But if I have to ask you about mental care, how do you take care
mental,
of your mental health?
yeah, mental. Listen, if you take food, you take estrogen HRT, estrogen patches, creams, they actually lessen your symptoms, and that includes your mental health, mental issues I just talked earlier.
Right, right.
Because your mental issues are happening due to your hormonal imbalance or due to your menopause.
Hmm.
So if you arrest your uh, if you arrest your symptoms, then automatically your mental health gets better.
Absolutely. Thank you, Inani.
Otherwise, you can also think, you can lessen your stress levels. You can watch your movie. You can go out, exercise. All these things you can do. But the thing is that at the end of the day, you have to basically modify your lifestyle and food, and also you can take HRT, which is called hormone replacement therapy.
Okay, understand. Thank you, Nani. The next thing that I want to basically what you mentioned earlier is you need to talk to your gynae, right? But
Right.
often many women also find it very reluctant. They find it very difficult to open up to even their doctors. So how do we
Mhm.
kind of approach our gynaes to talk about premenopause? How do we talk about our symptoms to them? How do we just come out of that hesitation, basically?
So if we experience any PMS symptom,
Hmm.
premenstrual symptoms, then we go to gynae and talk to them. Then why not in case of menopause?
Right.
We also go to the gynae for our other gynecological problems.
Hmm.
Then we can always talk to the gynaes about these things. No problem, because I went to gynae and I have talked about it very thoroughly with them.
Hmm. Hmm.
I do not think it will be a problem. If you hesitate to talk to a male gynae, go to a female gynae.
Right, right. But somehow I've seen that there's still a lot of reluctance to talk about menopause. I don't know why, but even in women, they're very shy talking about menopause. Don't no idea why. Maybe we are going to a stage where we'll not be reluctant anymore. But talking about the symptoms, Inani, you mentioned earlier what your symptoms were, but in general, what are some of the basic signs or symptoms to look for menopause, and do these symptoms vary from individual to individual?
Of course,
Mm.
it of course vary from individual to individual.
Yeah.
Basically, you want to know about the initial signs and symptoms of menopause,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So basically, after perimenopause, menopause occurs when a woman doesn't bleed for 1 year. Officially, it's called menopause.
Okay.
But nowadays, it's seen that women are getting their periods even after 1 year of no periods.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, so in this case, one should visit gynaes and do some ultrasonography to rule out other causes.
Mm. Mm.
So some women have vasomotor symptoms like I had, frequent hot flashes, night sweats, you
Mm.
know, and mood swings, anxiety, panic attacks, and most important, irritability, brain fog, and most importantly, low libido.
Right. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because due to vaginal dryness and basically drives to inability to do intercourse due to low libido and dry vagina.
Mm. Mm.
Because dry skin is a problem, big problem.
Right. Right. And do these symptoms vary from the symptoms at perimenopause, Indrani, or both are more or less similar?
It basically starts from perimenopause. Actually, in my case, it started from perimenopause. But when I reached to my late stage of perimenopause, the symptoms were very aggressive.
Okay. Right. And you're saying that these symptoms vary from individual to individual. Like they may be different for you, they may be different
Of
for
course,
somebody else. Or
of course.
Indrani, this is a conversation that
Also,
obviously.
another symptom I want to mention, that is, women can lose muscles, can experience muscle pain, joint pain, and they can lose bone density as well. That's why doctor will give you calcium tablets and vitamin D tablets.
Right. One last question before I kind of wrap this conversation, Indrani. When a woman is going through menopause, right? How can the
Yeah.
family around her give her support?
Well, that is basically a difficult question for me because I am living alone, and
Mm.
yeah. So, but when I go to visit my family, they know all about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, you have to talk to your family.
Mhm.
You can talk to your parents, you can talk to your siblings, husbands, or your uh, kids. You have to talk about it.
Exactly.
Otherwise, how other will know that what is going on within you?
Right. But Indrani, good that you mentioned that you live by yourself. Nowadays, we have many women who are living by themselves. Even I do. So in that case, when a woman is by herself,
Mm.
how does she take better
Mm.
care of herself when she's going through this phase?
Well, when you are living alone, you can always take better care of yourself
Hmm.
because you can make your own food, the food of your choice.
Yeah.
Food, yeah, that's how I eat. I mean, I do not eat any kind of junk or fried food. I try to eat nutritious always, even actually after my perimenopause.
Amazing. I don't know how you keep away from junk food, but that's amazing that you do.
No, I have to because I
Yeah, yeah.
basically I suffered a lot.
Yeah, yeah, true.
So yeah.
Right. Thank you, Indrani. But one very last question is, what would be your message to our listeners?
Our listeners. Okay, I assume that your listeners could be perimenopausal or menopausal women. I do not know.
Different phases.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I would say that eat nutritious food, don't have junk food or fried food, and food and lifestyle basically can lessen the symptoms, and one can also have some supplements like multivitamins, magnesium, probiotics.
Right.
Try not to take stress, exercise, and sleep for at least 6-7 hours a day.
Wonderful. Thank you, Indrani. And if any of us were to find you on social media, Indrani, where can we find you?
On my Facebook profile.
Okay. Or what's your Facebook link? I mean, what name can we find you on?
Okay, actually, my name is Indrani Ghosh.
Hmm.
My official name is Indrani Ghosh. But on Facebook, it is written as Indrani KG.
Okay. All right. Thank you,
Okay.
Indrani. For my listeners, if you've heard us for the first time, if you heard us for the first time, I really hope that menopause is such a sensitive issue, but it was so brave of our guest Indrani to come up, speak about her own journey, her experiences, and her words of wisdom. So I hope you've got a lot to take away. If any of this conversation was distressing, please step aside for a while and take care of your mental health first. And if you've heard me for a while, I hope you like the content that I put on the table. And if you've got any thoughts or feedback for the podcast, please write to me at Awaz-e-Haqiqat@gmail.com, or you can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as Awaz-e-Haqiqat. I look forward to reading your thoughts and comments. And Indrani, thank you so much for joining me and giving your expertise and journey on such an important issue. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.